We want to add what? Go ahead. We're going live. F it. We'll do it live. Go.
Yeah. I was going to say, I can add a title to the story. So if we want to cover anything else. But greetings and welcome to the Agree to Disagree show. I am Blake Walley, along with.
My name is Brian Engelman. By the way, I did plug in this microphone. Can you hear me on this microphone? And did it throw off the sync? Did it throw off the sync on the video?
I forgot to even look. I haven't gotten to that video yet, but let's just keep rolling with it and hopefully it'll be just fine.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover these stories and more today in the fastest 30 minutes in news. We're going to talk about, is the corporate controlled media the enemy of the people? Is the pipe bomb planting in DC, was that an inside job? What about journalists? Do they have to promote conspiracies to get ahead in media? And by the way, we don't mean the conspiracies that turn out to be true, the ones that Blake and I cover. We mean the lies that they know are lies when they're pushing and peddling lies. So do you have to engage in liefare? Liefare, is that a thing? Liefare, warfare, we'll see. We're also going to discuss Stewart Rhodes. Does he deserve 18 years for seditious conspiracy? And then Ron DeSantis, little Ronnie D. We'll get to him at the very end because he's insignificant. So, Blake, let's jump into the news today. The very first story here, corporate media, corporate-controlled media. Blake, would you agree or disagree that that really is the enemy of the people?
I am going to agree. It seems like they've been busted a number of times pushing false stories. We've seen a number of them, and we just saw the Durham report just change the media landscape forever. I'm not seeing a whole lot of liberals pushing back on that. They had to eat that big loss, and it seems like they either perpetuated a hoax or they were useful idiots. But either way, it doesn't look good. Their credibility is shot forever. I don't want to hear anything more from them. And there is a great poll I just saw, which is part of the reason I bring up this story. This is out of Summit News. As there's a poll, almost 2/3 of Americans view media as truly the enemy of the people, a mind-blowing damnation of the regime press. So this is a Rasmussen poll. So 59% voters either strongly or somewhat agree with that statement. Of course, it's much higher for Republicans. The Democrats are still in denial, and I think they should be trying to jump ship at this point. When they were basically outraged, I would think, at the so-called liberal media for misleading them all these years and getting them to go along with this Trump-Russia collusion nonsense, hoax. But we shall see how this unfolds and how that.
I'm wondering, who is the 1/3 that believes this crap?
Probably just people that don't really pay much attention to anything, and they just, I don't know, stumbled onto the poll. But how would they actually think? Like, where would they get their news from? Who would they believe at this point? The media has been busted in so many hoaxes over the last several years, especially. I don't understand how they have any credibility. But unless people still want to believe it, or it's just their own internal polls, or they just have Stockholm syndrome and they just can't believe that they're being lied to. As was it the Mark Twain quote? It's easier to fool people than it is to convince them they've been fooled.
Yeah, I guess. I've heard Scott Adams say on more than one occasion he loves citing polls. Of course, Rasmussen polls are his favorite. But I've heard him say 25% of people will get every question wrong, regardless. There will always be 25% of the people that are just wrong. They're always wrong, different issues, and it's not the same people, but you'll always find roughly 25% of people saying the wrong thing, the verifiably incorrect thing. Yeah, the President Trump, one of his enduring legacies, and there are many, but one of his greatest attributes, accomplishments, and feathers in his cap were his unveiling, his revealing of what the news, air quote, what the news is. The news is not who, what, where, when, why. The news is whatever the alphabet agencies tell you. That's what it is. And I don't know how far back we have to go to find a time when who, what, where, when, why, and then the H, the how. These were the tenets of journalism. And this is what I grew up on. You watch, with Deep Throat and Watergate, and you have these Aaron Brockovich, and it's just, growing up, you see these things about journalism, and you say, wow, okay, well, that's what a great public service it must be to decipher what's going on, to be able to translate the scrolls, to unroll the scrolls and see what's up. So when you see Waco, when you see Ruby Ridge, when you see 9/11, when you see Ukraine, when you see the 2020 election, when you see, everything that's happening. Wow, isn't it great that there's people whose main job is to find out who is involved, what is happening, where's this happening, why is it happening, how is it happening? But that's not the case. And so, President Trump coming out and saying you're fake news. It was great because it was so necessary. For how many years, for how many decades did these limp-wristed, milquetoast, air quote, rhino Republicans, I guess the air quote was not for rhino, that was for Republicans. My comma got thrown off there, but you get my point. I mean, how often they just get, a label tossed at them, and then they're up. I'd like to apologize. And now they're on their heels. And now they're being called racist and a bigot and a xenophobe. Like it's the same thing that the Democrats always do. And Trump was just like, yeah, piss off. You're just the media. You guys lie. You guys don't put out real news. You put out fake news. You're fake news. And the fake news was like Trump rebranding what Hillary came at. She tried taking that phrase, and he just twisted it and bludgeoned her with it, thankfully. But that is really his enduring legacy, is exposing the fake news for what it is. It's propaganda, and it's not good propaganda. They're obviously lies. And if you're going to obviously lie to us about this, you're losing our trust and support on the other things. So, I mean, there's a message here to the deep state. It's to stop doing what you're doing. The Durham report is damning. When are they supposed to be in Congress? Aren't they in Congress right now? 3 hours ago? Was it 9 o'clock or noon?
Yeah, I do believe there's a hearing today, and it might be at this very time because I haven't seen anything on Twitter about it yet, but I'm assuming it's today, and we'll see what comes out of it.
Absolutely. So the media, the corporate controlled lying and legacy media, they're not mainstream. There's nothing mainstream about these lunatics. They are the enemy of the people. Absolutely, hands down. So where do people go for the news? How about the New American Media? How about that? How about that for a great place to start? So, Blake, did you have anything else to add to this one as we do our rapid fire show today?
No, let's hit the next one, but it's a similar topic. Let's on the same.
All right, there we go. Sorry to play the stinger over top of what you were going to say. I guess there's two stories. Three of these stories are about non-stories, but how about this one? Right. Actually, they've got so many of these.
Hit that one. Well, I know, but we're just talking about.
Do you agree or disagree?
The lying legacy media.
Yeah. Do you agree or disagree that journalists need to promote conspiracies to get ahead in media?
Yeah, that seems to be the what they require now. It's totally different. You don't try to get your own news. That's dangerous for the corporations. They don't want investigative journalists rattling things up, stirring things, finding things, getting sued, pissing off powerful people. They'd rather have a controlled environment. And if you're pushing the regime propaganda, you will go very far. But if you don't, if you call that out, you will be punished, which we've lived through this, Brian. And I'll get to this. It's actually from Glenn Greenwald. It's another Summit News story. The regime journalists promote the right conspiracy theories to be successful. And the CIA will promote all of that stuff. But if you're Seymour Hersh, if you're a real investigative journalist and you uncover the My Lai massacre, or you cover, things that are embarrassing to the administration that they've covered up war crimes or what have you, or another recent case, the bombing of the Nord Stream pipelines, or the sabotage that was in fact most likely done by the United States. They don't like that. But if you're a Nicole Wallace, or you want to go on to these major networks and say that, Putin bad, and that he probably blew up the pipelines, you will get very far ahead. And that's what we're seeing, this big shift in journalism. Brian, yeah, it used to be kind of like a noble thing getting into journalism. It was sort of like an admirable thing to hold powerful people accountable and make sure that all your ducks in a row, all your facts were in order, all your I's dotted, T's crossed, and to put this damning stuff. It's the fourth estate. It's to protect the people from these big corporations or corrupt leaders. And but things have changed now. The corporate press is pretty much run by like 5 or 6 major companies. And it's totally backwards now, as Greenwald is pointing out, I should say. So a lot of this is us. Now we all know about it. So now we got the big fight. That's why we got the New American Media going up against the old legacy that's failed us.
Yes, they've completely failed us. Let's quote one of our famous thinkers of American history, at least recent American history. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you can't get fooled again. That was the George W. Bush line, but it rings eerily true. If you watch someone like Fox News come out with Chris Wallace and repeat the fine people hoax during the 2020 election to fortify to fortify the election. Remember that? What was that, Time magazine? Was that Time? And they had that.
Yeah, I think it was Time. I was going to say the Atlantic, but
they fortify. Was it the Atlantic?
No, it was Time magazine, I believe.
How they fortified honked the 2020 election. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fox News has been unwatchable since that. I mean, yeah, there's been Tucker and Gutfeld, but you know what you're getting there. It's not the Fox of yesteryear, where at least they had a kind of a perspective and they stayed in along those lines. They are taken over. They are corporate legacy media. They are lying legacy media. Demonstrably false story about President Trump and the fine people hoax that Chris Wallace brought up again to try to sink President Trump's boat. That's a dirty trick, and especially when you're supposed to be in friendly waters. And journalism isn't supposed to be friendly. Well, you know what? When 95% of the media is hardcore leftist, communist, Marxist, socialist, globalist, yeah, it would be nice if you had 5% that was loyal to, I don't know, right-leaning ideology or facts. Wouldn't it be nice if some of them just kind of were consistently consistent with right and wrong, facts and fiction? Wouldn't that be great? But I mean, even Fox, you know that Fox is co-opted at this point. You know what CNN is doing to you. And look at Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is being what is it? They're trying to get $16 million from him and get him expelled from Congress. I mean, that's a good start. Next start is put him in jail. If you go back to the poison well after watching your friends take a drink and collapse, I mean, it's your fault for drinking that poisoned water. You know it's poison. Why are you going back to that well? It is not safe for you to be a part. Greetings, Pied Piper. Hey, what up, man? Yeah, cool. But that's the take there. You know who's full of it, and the journalists that are promoting the conspiracies, let them do it, and then tag them, brand them with the scarlet letter for the rest of their career, and laugh them into obscurity. That's my take, Blake. Any final thoughts on this topic?
No, we got to run. It's halfway. We're at the halfway point.
Nice. Let's go.
Rapid fire. Okay.
All right, Blake, agree or disagree that the pipe bomb planting in D.C. was an inside job? Agree or disagree?
You know what? I'm going to agree for now. We don't know, with all the facts have not come out yet, but it's been a very suspicious, crazy story.
A preponderance of evidence at this moment.
Yeah.
You're
So,
leaning,
but I guess there has
toward
been
it being
a
a setup.
development. Well, yeah. So I guess the latest is that the FBI has identified a car now.
Oh, wow! 2 years later.
Yep. So here it is.
Let me guess. Is it that same Pakistani guy that drove the U-Haul into the fence a couple days ago?
That would have been nice, but yeah, he would have been like 17 then, and he might not even had his driver's license at that point. So, nope, not that I'm aware of, but it would be funny. We'll see who it is once they find it, if they actually identify the suspect, because if it is an inside job, you probably won't find it, and they'll just try to bury the story. So the FBI continuing to stonewall congressional oversight of the agency's investigation into the pair of pipe bombs found at the DNC and RNC headquarters on January 6th. And on Wednesday, House Republicans on the Judiciary Committee re-upped demands for a comprehensive briefing, another angry letter of the 2-year-old case, which the FBI has refused transparency. So, but earlier this month, whistleblower told the Washington Times the FBI identified a vehicle the suspect entered shortly after planting the bombs, but has not pursued the individual.
Of course. Okay, so what is the working analysis here, the working prognosis? It's that had things not gone how they did on January 6th, I'm just trying to figure out what can we say and what can't we say, because it's all coming out. Every lie is being unraveled right now. It's just like, hold on, in the timeline, what am I allowed to say? Honk honk on the on these goofy social tech underlord sites. But isn't the one of the working theories that had things not gone as planned, because yes, they were planned this way, then these would have detonated to cause the real chaos that they didn't get by kind of staging the other chaos with all the undercovers, which is why they won't let Tucker air any more of the footage, which is why McCarthy won't release it, hence breaking his promise when he became Speaker of the House to the American people, the stuff that Marjorie Taylor Greene fought to get put in there, and then she kind of got chummy with him, and now nobody's holding him accountable. We want the rest of the hours of the footage. But is that kind of the take? Those were going to be detonated if they couldn't get the chaos elsewhere?
Well, that was a theory I put out. I don't know if anybody else has said that, and I don't know if anybody...
Yes, it's the obvious theory, right?
Yeah, that's my thought, is that if there wasn't any violence at the Capitol, if nobody took the bait and nobody entered the Capitol and there were no agitators breaking windows and what have you, then maybe they would have set those bombs off. And that's would have been their way to blame the MAGA patriots for domestic terrorism. They say the bombs were inoperable. I don't know, but it's just strange that somebody was able to pull that off and nobody saw it. And they've been slow playing this investigation for 2 years now. So it almost reeks of an inside job to me. Not saying that those were real or something could have happened. I don't know. But it seems like they were pulling out all the stops to target Trump and his supporters that day. And maybe that was a backup plan that they decided not to go with. And they pulled the plug, but now people are still wondering who did that. So I'm guessing it was probably like one of their little Patriot Front group feds or something like that who did it. And that's why they won't identify the person, because people should know, or they should put out like an alert. People should get that that phone alert. Certain plates, or if you see this suspicious car, you should call somebody. But they haven't. So why wouldn't they announce that? Why wouldn't they put that out there, unless they were trying to cover something up? So this is a really weird story.
It is very strange. Choosing to not investigate kind of says it all, Blake. But moving into the next story here, related to what happened that day, do you agree or disagree that Stewart Rhodes deserves 18 years for seditious conspiracy. Agree or disagree?
Hell no. I mean, this is outrageous. He wasn't there. I don't know all the details. For one thing, I would like to know why they would come up with this number, but to me, it seems like it's another political hit job. So they're terrified of Stewart Rhodes and the Oath Keepers, and they wanted to make an example of them, and they want to send the chill factor in case anybody ever thinks about doing something, like this, like the January 6th style, protesting an election or what have you, or a peaceful transfer of power, however that goes. But he was nonviolent. He did not go in the Capitol. I don't think he was even there that day. Yeah, he's the head of the Oath Keepers. There may have been, maybe some weapons stashed somewhere in case shit hit the fan and they needed to get involved. But as far as I know, Stewart Rhodes is always seemed like a good guy, and just protecting. He's like an old school, patriotic American, and Oath Keeper is just about minding your oath to the Constitution. And so our forefathers, had a revolution and fought back. And when they have a redress of grievances, you're supposed to overthrow the government. It's our duty. And so in this case, maybe that was in play if they didn't look. Many people thought this was a coup that had been performed, and that the deep state had taken over, and it was supposed to be Trump getting elected, and they didn't get the results they wanted, and there was an impossible emergency backup, and then there was a protest. People thought that this thing was going to be overturned. That's why a lot of people were there to see a different set of electors get there and maybe overturn the results. It's not what happened. Instead, it was all flipped on the Patriots and the MAGA crowd. And all of a sudden it became an insurrection, and now they're going after all of the people that were involved in this, especially the leadership. So
that's all coming on the heels of 5 years of Russian collusion conspiracy, election interference, the coup that happened with Hillary Clinton involved with Barack Obama and Joe Biden, and
John Brennan and high-level people, and Sally Yates. There's a whole number of different people. Susan Rice, probably Jake Sullivan. There was a lot of people that had got together and they cooked up this political hoax. So, and they used a bogus dossier of Russian disinformation to spy on the Trump campaign. And when he still won anyway, then they made it sound like he was colluding with Russia. So that's seditious conspiracy right there. But and now the Durham report has come out. Now we fully know that it never should have started. It was all cooked up by the deep state. And then they dismissed the Hunter laptop, which could have also altered the election in 2020. So, yeah,
I think the social media companies really have to pay for their role in seditious conspiracy as well. These are demonstrably, obviously false, slanderous, libelous actions that have been taken to subvert and overthrow the duly elected president of the United States. That is treason. That's just treason. That is your seditious conspiracy right there. Moving on to the second to last story, the IRS talking about retribution here and staying with the alphabet agencies. Do you agree or disagree, Blake, that the IRS investigation against Matt Taibbi was politically motivated?
Oh, it's 100%. It's so ridiculous. So the IRS opened an investigation into journalist Matt Taibbi on Christmas Eve. Who works in a federal agency? Who works on Christmas Eve? Nobody.
Well, the godless people of the government, where government is the god. You must worship at their altar.
Right.
That's their god.
Right. So this was weeks after he dropped the Twitter files documents and exposed the meddling. It's basically fascism, and it's corporations and government, and this in case big tech colluding and meddling around with social media companies to control information, especially something that was damning to the administration they wanted to take over with in Joe Biden's America. So IRS opened an investigation into Taibbi Christmas Eve, just a few weeks after he began posting the Twitter files. And he pulled that out. Here is his tweet here, which he sent to the House Judiciary Chair, Jim Jordan. And an IRS agent showed up at the home of Twitter Files journalist on the exact same day that he was testifying before the Committee on Weaponization of the Federal Government. So it's so transparent. So he's sitting here. He has no idea. He's just answering questions about the Twitter files and the government's role, meddling around. And meanwhile, there's an IRS agent sniffing around his house, trying to, to serve him or intimidate him. It's so disgusting. This is the kind of thing that happens in, these third world countries. Shouldn't happen here, but it is happening here. So it's just like we've been taken over here at home from domestic terrorists from within.
And there have been calls for a church hearing, right, to blow these agencies apart to the nether regions, to the corners of the globe, right? Because you can't even save what you have. It has to be, you gotta take all the Lego pieces apart in order to build something different. You can't really salvage what's going on.
Yeah, there has to be a major purge. I wouldn't trust any of these people. So, and we're using this, they're targeting their political enemies with the IRS. It's just sickening. And then they put.
Speaking of people you wouldn't trust, Blake, final story. Finish your thought. That was just such a nice segue.
No, they go after, Stewart Rhodes or Matt Taibbi. They go after, good people calling it out, and Greenwald's calling it out. And so they're all the targets. So it's us and them. The deep state and the patriots. It's crazy times. But here we are.
Exactly. Well, do you trust this guy, Ron DeSantis? Agree or disagree that he's a formidable challenger for president in 2024?
He is a formidable challenger, but he's down significantly. And I don't know about his chances, but it's certainly going to be exciting. And there were just tons of fireworks flying last night. I don't know, Brian, if you tuned into his announcement on Twitter.
It wouldn't load. I don't know. I was clicking on stuff. I'm like, oh, something's happening. All right, it's not working. Failure to launch. It's another Elon project that failed to launch. Ron DeSantis launches his campaign like the Hindenburg. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what is the point. Like, how did we get here, and what is the end game for little Ronnie D? And he's welcome. I will reach out to invite him on the program and ask him all sorts of questions. But I just don't understand the strategy when you still have President Trump out there. Maybe that's the deep state telling Ronnie D, like, hey, listen, we're going to get him in Georgia. We're going to get him in DC. We're going to get him in New York. We're going to hit him 3 ways, and we're going to arrest him all sorts of places. You'll be the last man standing. Maybe that's their strategy. But I mean, I ask around. Most people you ask, if they're MAGA supporters, they're not going to jump ship and turn to Ronnie D. They would vote for an imprisoned Donald Trump to come out and pardon himself before they had a chance, before they would change their heart and bail on the guy that many think deserves or should be in office right now. They would vote for him indefinitely, at least a second term, if not more than that. So yeah, I don't know where we go with Ron DeSantis. What do you got pulled up here? This is the failure to launch.
Yeah, there's a few articles. Trump mocking the DeSantis Twitter launch disaster. There's a lot of that on both sides. A lot of people were having. Some of these are pretty funny. This is we don't have a lot of time to go into all of these. Well, this is only a 5-second one, but here it is: failure to launch. It's very good, the speed that they were able to put this out. So it should be a very exciting Republican primary. Yeah, I agree. He should wait till 28. So it's probably going to hurt his chances, although maybe the competition's a good thing. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Pied Piper saying he prefers Trump, but he'd be okay with DeSantis. I'm not. After I watched the deep state fortify honk this last election, as they've admitted to, as they've lied, the 51 intelligence officers lied, former intelligence officials lied about the Hunter laptops. They've lied about the collusion. They've spied on the campaign. They've 1,000x'd Watergate. Everything that they've done, On general principle, you got to go back to Trump, just as a big middle finger. And I've said this to many people, including the back and forth I had with Anomaly. Go find that interview. It was fun times, but he kind of disagrees and doesn't really think that that the challenge would be a bad thing. Iron sharpens iron. So if you can have a debate and kind of get a better candidacy out of it, fine. But just interesting times require interesting measures, and I just think it's Trump or nobody in 2024.
What?
And if they were to honk Trump and throw him in jail or JFK him, I mean, that would be the only plan that would make sense why little Ronnie D decided to do what he's doing now. So, I mean, I can't see any other scenario where he comes out ahead in this thing. And I saw DeSantis as having the unique opportunity to either unite the Republican Party or destroy it. And he's choosing the latter. He could destroy the Republican Party with this. There's no way Biden has any support to earn an election in 2024. No way, not even a chance. He's the least likable, most unpopular president of my lifetime. Unless DeSantis tosses the Republican Party into some disgusting civil war and we take our eye off the ball and we drop it. We fumble it because we were looking ahead. That's how I see it. Blake, what's that?
I don't know. I think it's kind of harsh on Ronnie D, who I think against Biden would destroy him. And it would be great. Now, if Trump wasn't running, I'd be, very much a fan of DeSantis, as long as he's not changing his message too much by, getting in bed with the neocons. That's my major.
But isn't that where he's already at? The speculation is that he made promises, he had interest, and he's taken money, but now he's painted himself into a corner and he can't back out. If he doesn't go ahead with running, now he's stolen all this money and there's no campaign. So it's a way to funnel money.
Right. Well, he's all good things like, removing FBI Director Chris Wray if elected president. He was also in favor of Bitcoin and against the CBDCs. So those aren't really, I would say, neocon at all. There's a lot of things to like about Ronnie D. So I'd like to believe that he's a good guy. And we wanted to have him pave the way for 2028. Give it to him and give him
2028. Yeah. Right now, there's something else that's unresolved here. Like it's not time right now. It's just
it might not be the best time, but hey, you know what? I think this is going to be just shaping up to be exciting because now we actually have 3 candidates. I think that are pretty good. We got not only Trump and DeSantis, but also RFK Jr.
Well, the Democrats have already said that they're going to honk the cycle for him.
Yeah, but so what? That doesn't mean anything. He's polling at 20% checked, and I don't think the Democrats are going to run with Biden. I don't know if he's going to do it.
Are they going to put Hillary in? Final question. Are they going to try to set, because she's out saying Biden is old and the 25th Amendment and this and that. Like, are they going to try to remove him and put her in and leave Kamala in the second chair?
I don't know. I think Roger Stone said he thinks Michelle Obama would run. I don't think Hillary can do it. I don't think she's not healthy enough to do it, even if she wanted to. So they don't really have anybody. They can't run Kamala. Joe Biden's falling apart badly. He's not going to hold up against. I mean, he doesn't have to debate RFK Jr., but it's still going to be, a grueling primary season when people see that. So you're going to get that kind of that Bernie crowd. So you might see the RNC, you might see the Republicans and the Democrats kind of do a lot of infighting. So it's going to be very exciting. I'm looking forward to 2024. So
where's the Republican convention?
Milwaukee.
Okay. Or as the ancient Algonquin used to call it, Milwaukee.
Right.
What's the movie? That's our question of the day. Do you know the movie? Or is the ancient? Is it ancient? I think.
Are we ancient? Because that's like probably ancient history. That movie was like over 30 years ago.
Or as the Algonquin call it, Milwaukee. That's our question of the day. Do you know the name of that movie? Type it in the comments below. But this is our rapid fire show. We did 34 minutes. We were aiming for 30. I had 5 minutes of leeway. We settled right in the middle of it. But we're trying to get you with the most important news stories of the day. There's never enough time. But hey, we're going to keep it succinct. We're going to keep it moving on some of these shows. Blake, any final words today, sir?
No, I think we covered most of the major issues. Good times. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Oh,
Make sure that you are
Michael.
following Blake. He's on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. Follow the New American Media on Twitter at American_media_. Follow the New American Media on Truth Social. Follow the New American Media on Instagram. Follow the New American Media on Rumble. Follow the podcast on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree Show. Follow TNAM and TNAM Chat. TNAM is for the New American Media because the news always matters. Follow us on TNAM and TNAM Chat on Telegram. Where else have I left off, Blake? I don't know. I thought youtube.com/the New American Media and thenewamericanmedia.com. All of these wonderful places, including thenextlevelnews.com, where Blake's archive is as well. So until next time, we appreciate you. We love you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Peace.
Peace.